A routine park visit turns upside down when little Theo mistakes a stranger for his father, and the man doesn't walk away. For Monica, it was just another Sunday until fate introduced her to the one she never saw coming. Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. Nia Brooks checked her watch for the fifth time in as many minutes. Her flight had been delayed for 3 hours, and now she was going to be late getting home. After spending a week in Barbados, her first real vacation in 5 years, all she wanted was to get back to her small apartment in Atlanta, take a hot shower, and sleep in her own bed. Final boarding call for Flight 1872 to Atlanta announced the overhead speaker. Nia grabbed her carry-on bag and hurried to the gate, joining the last few passengers boarding the plane. Finding her seat by the window, she stowed her bag and settled in, watching through the small oval window as the ground crew finished loading luggage into the belly of the aircraft. Her week in Barbados had been exactly what she needed. Time alone to think, to heal, to remember who she was before Derek had crushed her confidence and left her questioning her worth. The trip had been a birthday gift to herself, paid for with savings from her florist shop, Petal and Stem, which she'd opened 3 years ago after working for other people since college. As the plane took off, Nia closed her eyes. She was proud of herself for taking this trip alone. It had been a small act of courage, but an important one. 6 hours later, exhausted and eager to get home, Nia made her way through Atlanta's crowded airport to baggage claim. The carousel was already spinning when she arrived, bags of all shapes and sizes circling around. She spotted a navy blue suitcase that looked like hers and quickly grabbed it, pulling up the handle and heading for the exit. In her hurry, she didn't notice that the luggage tag had a different name on it. On the other side of the country, Cassie Royce settled into the plush leather seat of his private jet. The Los Angeles skyline disappeared beneath the clouds as the aircraft climbed to cruising altitude. His assistant, Marcus, sat across from him, reviewing the schedule for their 3-day trip to New York. "The board meeting is at 9 a.m. tomorrow," Marcus said, not looking up from his tablet. Then lunch with the investors at noon, followed by the marketing presentation at 2 p.m. Cashin nodded, his face expressionless. At 32, he was one of the youngest CEOs in the lifestyle industry, having built Royce Enterprises from a small startup into a global brand in just 7 years. His success had come at a price, though. He couldn't remember the last time he'd felt truly excited about anything. Work, relationships, life in general. Everything had become a series of obligations and meetings. "I'm going to review the quarterly reports," Cashin said, reaching for the navy suitcase at his feet. "Make sure we're not disturbed for the next hour." Marcus nodded and moved to the front of the cabin, leaving Cashin alone with his thoughts and his work. Cashin unzipped the suitcase, expecting to find neatly folded dress shirts and his portfolio of documents. Instead, he froze. This wasn't his suitcase. Inside was a soft peach-cold scarf folded carefully on top of summer dresses and casual clothes that definitely weren't his. A weathered leather journal with pressed flowers peeking from its pages lay next to a small glass bottle of perfume. Confused, Cashin picked up the perfume bottle. The label read jasmine and honey. Without thinking, he removed the cap and took a small sniff. The scent hit him like a physical force. Jasmine, honey, and something else, something warm and real that made his chest tighten unexpectedly. It smelled like summer evenings, like comfort, like home. He set the bottle down carefully and noticed a small luggage tag on the handle that he'd missed before. Nar Brooks. It read with an Atlanta address and phone number. Cashin should have been annoyed. Someone had taken his suitcase, which contained important documents for tomorrow's meetings. Instead, he found himself picking up the journal, running his fingers over the worn leather cover. He knew he shouldn't open it. These were someone's private thoughts, but he couldn't help flipping gently to where a pressed flower marked a page. A sketch of a small flower shop filled the page with notes in neat handwriting about display cases and cooler placement. Petal and Stem expansion plan was written across the top. Underneath the journal was a slightly crumpled photograph. A woman stood on a beach at sunset, arms outstretched, face turned toward the ocean. Her curly hair blew in the wind, and even from the back, Cashin could tell she was laughing. He stared at the photo, then at the journal, then at the perfume. Something shifted inside him, like a door opening in a room he'd forgotten existed. "Marcus," he called. His assistant appeared immediately. "Yes, sir. Someone took my suitcase by mistake. I need you to contact this woman." He handed Marcus the luggage tag and arranged to get my bag back as soon as possible. "Of course, I'll take care of it right away." Marcus took the tag. "Would you like me to notify the airline about the mix-up?" "No," Cashin said more sharply than he intended. "Just contact her directly." After Marcus left, Cashin picked up the perfume bottle again, turning it in his hands. He shouldn't care about the woman who owned these things. She was just a stranger who had inconvenienced him. And yet he uncapped the bottle again and breathed in the scent of jasmine and honey. Nia arrived home dragging her suitcase up the stairs to her second-floor apartment. She kicked off her shoes at the door and pulled the suitcase to her bedroom. Too tired to unpack. Tomorrow would be soon enough. Right now, she just needed a shower and sleep. 3 hours later, she woke up feeling refreshed. Stretching, she decided to unpack before heading to her shop to check on things. She'd been closed for a week, but her assistant manager had kept the place running. Still, Nia was eager to get back to her flowers. She unzipped the suitcase and froze. These weren't her clothes. Instead of her summer dresses and casual wear, she found men's dress shirts, expensive suits, and a portfolio of business documents. "Oh no," she whispered, frantically searching for any identification. She found a business card tucked into the portfolio. Cassie and Royce, CEO Royce Enterprises. Nia's heart sank. She'd taken the wrong suitcase. And not just anyone's suitcase, she'd taken the luggage of a CEO. Panic rose in her chest as she reached for her phone to call the airline. Before she could dial, her phone rang with an unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Hello, is this Nia Brooks?" asked a polite male voice. "Yes, it is. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm calling on behalf of Cashin Roy, CEO of Royce Enterprises. It appears there's been a mix-up with Mr. Royce's luggage at the airport today." Nia closed her eyes, mortified. "I am so sorry. I just realized I have the wrong suitcase. I was in a hurry, and they look exactly alike." "No need to apologize, Miss Brooks. These things happen. Mr. Royce would like to arrange a meeting to exchange the bags as soon as possible." "Of course. I can bring it to the airport right away." "That won't be necessary. Mr. Royce will be in Atlanta tomorrow afternoon and would like to meet you at the Four Seasons Hotel downtown at 4 p.m. if that's convenient." Tomorrow? Nia had planned to spend the day at her shop, catching up after her absence, but she could hardly refuse. "4 o'clock tomorrow works for me," she said. "Excellent. Mr. Royce appreciates your cooperation." After hanging up, Nia stared at the expensive suitcase. Why would this CEO want to meet in person? Couldn't he just send someone to pick up the bag? She hoped he wasn't planning to sue her or something equally horrible. Her journal was in that suitcase, and her favorite scarf and the perfume her grandmother had given her before she died. The thought of a stranger looking through her things made her stomach knot. Back on his private jet, Cashin reviewed the new marketing materials Marcus had prepared for their meetings in New York, but his mind kept drifting back to the contents of the wrong suitcase, to the woman on the beach with her arms outstretched, to the scent of jasmine and honey. "Marcus," he said, interrupting his assistant's detailed explanation of the presentation. "I need to be in Atlanta tomorrow." Marcus blinked. "Atlanta, but the board meeting, reschedule it, and the investor lunch." "We're flying to Atlanta after the marketing presentation. May I ask why?" Cashin hesitated. He wasn't entirely sure himself. "The suitcase situation. I want to handle it personally." Marcus looked surprised, but quickly recovered. "Of course, I've already arranged a meeting with Ms. Brooks at the Four Seasons at 4 p.m. tomorrow." "Good," Cashin said, turning back to the marketing materials. But he wasn't seeing the glossy photos and carefully crafted text. He was seeing pressed flowers and a journal full of dreams. He was remembering what it felt like to be moved by something, by someone. The next day, Nia stood nervously in the elegant lobby of the Four Seasons Hotel, Cashin Royce's navy suitcase at her side. She dressed carefully in her most professional outfit, a simple blue dress with a cardigan, but still felt out of place among the wealthy guests and polished staff. At exactly 4 p.m., the elevator doors opened and a man stepped out. Nia recognized him immediately from the photos she'd found online last night. Cashin Royce was tall with dark hair and sharp features that made him look stern and unapproachable. He wore a perfectly tailored gray suit that probably cost more than 3 months of her rent. He scanned the lobby, his eyes landing on her. For a moment, he seemed to freeze. Then he walked directly toward her, followed by a man she assumed was his assistant. "Miss Brooks?" Cashin asked, his voice deeper than she expected. "Yes," she said, forcing a smile despite her nerves. "Mr. Royce, I'm so sorry about the mix-up. I was in a hurry, and the bags look identical." "And it's fine," he interrupted, but not unkindly. His eyes were fixed on her face with an intensity that made her words trail off. "These things happen." An awkward silence fell between them. Nia gestured to the suitcase beside her. "Well, here's your bag. Everything should be exactly as it was." "Thank you," he nodded to his assistant, who stepped forward to take the suitcase. "And I have yours." The assistant produced her navy suitcase, setting it down beside her. "I hope nothing was damaged," Cashin said, still watching her with that strange intensity. "I'm sure it's fine," Nia replied, wondering why he was looking at her that way. Did she have something on her face? "Again, I'm really sorry about the trouble." "No trouble," he said. Then, unexpectedly, "Would you join me for coffee to make up for the inconvenience I've caused you?" Nia blinked in surprise. "The inconvenience you've caused me?" A slight smile touched his lips. "You had to come all the way downtown to meet a stranger, when you probably had better things to do today." She couldn't argue with that, though she was puzzled by his request. Why would Cassie Royce, Billionaire CEO, want to have coffee with her? "I'm sure," she said. "Coffee would be nice." "Good." He turned to his assistant. "Marcus, take the bags up to the suite. Ms. Brooks and I will be in the lobby lounge." Marcus nodded and disappeared with both suitcases, leaving Nia alone with Cashin. "This way," he said, gesturing toward the elegant lounge area. As they walked, Nia caught a whiff of his cologne, expensive and subtle, nothing like Derek's overpowering scent that had always given her a headache. They sat at a quiet table in the corner. A server appeared almost instantly to take their order. "Just black coffee for me," Cashin said. "Green tea with honey, please," Nia ordered. When the server left, Cashin leaned forward slightly. "So, Miss Brooks?" "Nia, please," she interrupted. "Miss Brooks makes me feel like I'm in trouble." That slight smile appeared again. "Nia, tell me about yourself." The directness of the question caught her off guard. "There's not much to tell. I own a small flower shop in Inman Park. I just got back from my first vacation in years." "Barbados," he said, near tensed. "How did you know that?" Cashin hesitated, looking almost embarrassed. "Your luggage tag had a Barbados sticker on it." "Oh, right." She relaxed slightly. It was beautiful there, peaceful, and the flower shop, petal and stem. Now she was definitely suspicious. "You looked through my things." It wasn't a question, but he answered anyway. "I saw the journal. I apologize. I was trying to figure out whose bag I had." Nia should have been angry, but something in his expression stopped her. He didn't look like an arrogant CEO right now. He looked like someone who had found something unexpected and wasn't quite sure what to do with it. Their drinks arrived, giving Nia a moment to gather her thoughts. She added honey to her tea, stirring slowly. "Yes, I own petal and stem," she finally said. "It's small, but it's mine. I opened it 3 years ago." "And the expansion plans?" She looked up sharply. "You read my journal." "Just the page that was marked," he admitted. "I'm sorry that was invasive." It was, but Nia found herself answering anyway. "I'm hoping to expand next year, add a small cafe section if I can get the financing." Cashin took a sip of his coffee, his eyes never leaving her face. "It's a good idea. Flowers and coffee complement each other." "They do," she agreed, studying him curiously. "But I doubt you asked me for coffee to discuss my business plans." "No," he said simply. "Then your perfume?" "My perfume? Jasmine and honey. It's unusual." Nia felt herself blush. It was my grandmother's recipe. She used to make it herself. After she died, I found someone who could recreate it for me. It's beautiful, Cashin said quietly. Something in his voice made Nia look up and meet his gaze directly, for the first time. What she saw there surprised her. Not the cold calculation she had expected from a businessman, but something warmer, something almost vulnerable. "Thank you," she said softly. They sat in silence for a moment, the busy hotel lobby fading into the background. "I have a proposition for you," Cashin finally said. "Royce Enterprises is launching a new line of home products next month. We're looking for someone to consult on floral designs for our catalogs and displays." Nia set down her tea. "And you're offering this to me? A stranger whose bag you accidentally took?" "I've seen your work," he said. "The pressed flowers in your journal, the designs for your shop. You have talent." She should say no. This made no sense. "And yet I'd need to know more details," she said cautiously. "Of course." Cashin pulled out a business card and handed it to her. "Think about it. Call me when you decide." Their fingers brushed as she took the card, and something like an electric current passed between them. Nia pulled her hand back quickly. Cashin stood. "Thank you for the coffee, Nia Brooks, and for returning my suitcase." "Thank you for returning mine," she replied, still confused by everything that had just happened. As he walked away, Nia stared down at the business card in her hand. What had just happened? And why did she have the strange feeling that her life had just changed in some fundamental way? Outside the hotel, she opened her suitcase to check that everything was there. Her clothes, her journal, her photograph, and on top carefully folded her peach scarf. She picked it up and held it to her nose. It smelled faintly of his cologne. I've written part one of the scent of her. Following your guidelines, the story introduces Nia Brooks and Cashin Royce, establishing their initial meeting through the suitcase mix-up. I've kept the language simple and straightforward, focusing on the emotional connection that begins to form between them. The narrative follows a linear timeline and establishes the key elements of your premise. Nia's vulnerability after a past relationship, Cashin's emotional awakening upon encountering her belongings, and the beginning of their connection. 3 days passed before Nia called the number on Cashin's business card. 3 days of telling herself this was crazy. That a man like Cassie Royce didn't just offer consulting jobs to strangers, that there had to be some catch, but curiosity finally won out. Sitting in the back office of her flower shop after closing time, surrounded by the day's leftover blooms, she dialed the number. It rang twice before he answered. Cashin Royce. His deep voice caught her off guard. She'd expected an assistant to answer. "Oh, hello. Oh, this is Nia Brooks from the luggage mix-up." A pause. "Nia, I was beginning to think you weren't going to call." Something in his tone made her heart beat faster. "I've been busy with the shop, and honestly, I wasn't sure if your offer was serious." "I don't make offers I don't mean," he said simply. "Have you decided?" Nia twirled a loose strand of hair around her finger. "I'm interested, but I'd need more information. What exactly would this consulting job involve?" "It's easier to show you than explain over the phone." "Are you free tomorrow afternoon?" "I could stop by your shop tomorrow." Nia glanced around her small, somewhat cluttered store. It wasn't fancy like the places someone like him probably visited. But it was hers and she was proud of it. "Yes, I'm free after 3 o'clock. The shop closes at 6 o'clock. I'll be there at 4 o'clock, he said. "And Nia?" "Yes. Thank you for calling." After hanging up, Nia sat motionless staring at her phone. Why did she feel like she'd just agreed to something much bigger than a business meeting? The next day, Nia found herself cleaning the already clean shop, rearranging displays, and fussing with her appearance more than usual. She changed outfits twice before settling on a simple green dress that brought out the gold flecks in her brown eyes. At exactly 4 o'clock, the bell above the door chimed. Cassie and Roy stepped in a petal and stem, and the small space suddenly seemed even smaller. He was dressed more casually than when she'd seen him at the hotel in dark jeans and a gray button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up to reveal strong forearms. Without a suit jacket and tie, he looked less like a CEO and more like a man. a very handsome man who is currently scanning her shop with intense interest. "Welcome to Petal and Stem," Nia said, wiping suddenly damp palms on her dress. Cashin's eyes found hers, and a small smile softened his features. "It's exactly as I imagined from your sketch." She felt an unexpected warmth spread through her chest at the idea that he had imagined her shop. "Thank you. It's small, but I've put everything I have into it. It shows." He moved around the space, examining the displays of fresh flowers. The vintage cabinet she'd repurposed as a display case, the hand-painted signs. "You have a gift for creating spaces that feel like home?" The way he said that last word, almost like it was unfamiliar on his tongue, made Nia curious. "Would you like something to drink?" "I have water, tea." "Water is fine, thank you." Nia went to the small refrigerator behind the counter and retrieved 2 bottles of water. When she turned around, Cashin was studying a bouquet of wild flowers. "These aren't like the arrangements in the front window," he observed as she handed him the water. "No," she agreed. "Those are more traditional. These are what I call honest flowers." "Honest flowers?" Nia smiled, relaxing a little as she talked about what she loved. "They're not perfect. They're a little wild, a little unexpected, but that's what makes them beautiful. At least that's what I think."
See.